Welcome to Back to School Night virtual edition for our 2021-2022 school year. My name is Miss Allen, and I am your child's Algebra 1 teacher. So before we get started, I did want to say for my fourth period Algebra 1, there's actually two teachers. It's myself and Miss Mayasich, and most students call her Miss M. And then my sixth period is just myself. For the one, and I'll talk a little bit more about my fourth period class in a bit. So a little bit about myself. I grew up in Fremont, California, and I went to Washington High School. And after that, I went to Cal Poly in SLO, or San Luis Obispo. And that's where I received my Bachelor's of Science and my credential. And a fact or an interesting thing about me is that I have been dancing since I was 2 years old, and I continued to dance through college, and now I teach dance at a local studio in San Ramon. This is my 8th year teaching, and this is my 8th year at Amador, so all 8 have been spent here. So as far as my fourth period class, so you can zoom through this if your child is not in my fourth grade class. So we do have 2 teachers this year in our fourth period class, both of which are math. Why we're doing this is we have noticed that a lot of students tend to struggle with Algebra 1 in general. And so the district had funding to kind of try this out. And so we're both credentialed math teachers. So it's pretty awesome because with 2 teachers in the room, we're able to help a lot more students. So just wanted to kind of give you a heads up on that. As far as my contact information, there is my email. I try and get back to you within 24 hours. Sometimes my emails flood in, so if I don't get back to you within that time frame and it's not the weekend, then you can always send me another follow-up email. You could also call me. Emailing is a little bit easier just because calling can be tricky if I'm teaching a class. I did want to show you my website. So the website can be found through the Amador website, and then from there they can select their teacher. So the website is used as a sort of calendar of the week. So if they go to the assignments page, they'll be able to see all of their assignments for the entire week. And I also use Google Classroom. So some students will use the website, some students will use the Google Classroom. It just depends on what they like. This is nice because it gives you that overview of the week, where Google Classroom will just be day by day. So I'll show you Google Classroom as well. So Google Classroom, and for both periods, it looks identical. So every single day, I'll post the agenda, just like I do on the website. And the nice thing about our year last year is I made videos of almost every single lesson. So for every lesson we do in class, I have a YouTube video of myself going through that lesson. So it's a great resource if a student was absent, or if a student just really needs a reteach on that lesson, then they can go back and watch the video. And so just kind of scrolling through, you can see every single lesson I have a video. I also post the notes as well. So both of those are great resources for your students. And I just wanted to kind of show you that so you know where to find information about what is happening in class. A grade breakdown, homework and classwork, all of those assignments are worth a quarter of their grade. Homework is assigned every single day, and we check it every day. And tests and quizzes are 60%. So we do have individual tests, obviously, but we also have group quizzes, which is something that Amador really does as a math department here. So most of the time you'll have a group quiz and then a day in between and the test. So the group quiz serves as a practice for the test and just an opportunity to work with peers. And then lastly, the final is 15%. So a typical day in the classroom, we always start off with a warm-up, which will go over the material from the day before. So it just gives students a chance to make sure they remembered or maybe have another opportunity to learn that topic. During that time, I will be checking their homework. And then after that, we'll go over any homework questions. So I always encourage students to ask if they have any. And if they don't feel comfortable asking, they could always send me an email or ask me privately, and I will go over that homework question. After that, we'll go into our notes or classwork or activities, whatever we do that day. It just depends. I try to do a combination of everything. So I try and do a little bit of notes, and then we'll do some group work where they'll practice in their groups, and then they might practice on their own just to kind of change it up. And then lastly, we'll end with a wrap up, just sort of a closure on the lesson, make sure that we got out of today what we were supposed to get out of it. And then sometimes we will also do exit tickets, which is just kind of a couple questions on what we did that day. And then we typically have time for homework. It just depends on the length of the lesson for that day. Opportunities for additional help. So as some of you may know, we have something called access period. This year we are fortunate enough to have a 50-minute period on Wednesday and a 60-minute period on Thursday. So it's basically built-in time into your day to get that extra help. So if students need help before a test, they can come in for access. If they want to go over their most recent test, they can come in for access. Or if they just need help on their homework, they can come in for access. So it's wonderful that it's built into the day. And I will sometimes encourage students to come into access on certain days if they are struggling. Now, I'm only going to spend like 30 seconds on this because it looks crazy. But just a little introduction. We had changed the way the math pathways work a few years back. And so at this point, by taking Algebra 1, you will not be able to take calculus as a senior, which is fine, I would say, for 80% of the population. But for those students who do want to take calculus, there are options. So next year, most students will go to geometry, but some students will go to course 1, which is geometry / algebra 2. And then their junior year, they would take Algebra 2 / pre-calc. So then that way their senior year, they can take calculus. So just to kind of show you that there is an option to go to calculus, and I will be sending letters home in January or February about this regardless. And lastly, just wanted to say thank you. I wish I could have met you guys all in person, but this is unfortunately the way we're doing things. So if you would like to donate anything to our classroom, I could definitely always use Kleenex, Lysol wipes, and anything that's on here. And again, my name is Miss Allen, and it was great meeting you guys.